What it is, everybody. Welcome to Wednesday, January 14th, 2026. This has been an eventful year. We could be very close, according to pizza indicators. Not that kind of pizza. Well, maybe that kind of pizza. According to pizza indicators, we are constantly on the brink of doing something in Iran. So there was a warning today. That's what the headline's about. Not a warning, but a prediction from some foreign countries that we were about to attack Iran within 24 hours. It might be a taco situation, so I have to play you that. We may be chickening out of it already, but I thought I'd report on the news. Let me apply some makeup. Let's see. Yes, I need to apply some makeup virtually. Just that much is fine. Thank you. There we go. Much better. So have news for you guys today, just the usual. I have some updates on the ICE situation and some more video of what they're doing on the streets. So I'll show you that. I'll respond to some of the comments from my video yesterday where I said controversial things about ICE and Border Patrol. So I tried to do some research to make sure I could accurately answer those questions. Oh, good. This is working today. That's new. Silver is up huge. It was up huge today. It's still over $92. It's insane. I don't even know what to do. I had a terrible situation happen to me where I had to sell all my physical silver early last year when it was about $36 an ounce. Now it's $92 an ounce, and I feel terrible every day. I feel worse the higher it goes. But I still bought some. I'm still up actually on the little bit I bought. But I don't know when it's going to stop or what it indicates. We also have some things going on in cryptocurrency. Bitcoin is up again. It seems like it's not going into a 4-year nap, at least right now. So buy your Bitcoin t-shirts for sure when I promote them on the show. It looks like it's doing well. I sold a lot of that too. I am waiting for disaster, but disaster may not come. The Wall Street Journal says Trump wants to run it hot, and he might run it hot. So we don't know exactly which way things are going to go. No one can predict the future. Warren Buffett did a pretty good job, but no one can really predict the future or predict what's going to happen from day to day. But we can gamble on things. And I placed some bets. We'll tell you about bets we placed on Kalshi. We're still trying to make money by buying things. And bought some. I have some news about privacy, cryptocurrency, notably Monero, which I'll tell you guys about if you're interested. It has to do with taxes and people trying to hide money from the government. So I'll tell you about that today too. We had lots of things go up today, even though the stock market was down. It was an interesting day. Stock market was down, but silver, gold, Bitcoin, privacy coins were up today. So an interesting day in the markets. We don't know which way it's going to go. Some people say this is the year. It's going to be the golden age, especially people around Trump. I say this might be the year we finally get replaced by machines in large numbers. And I keep bringing you news to show you those things. Where some things are predicting massive inflation, like gold and silver. Some things seem to be deflating, like real estate, cars at this moment, used cars at least. And some, yeah, I said real estate. So I'll show you that too before the end of the show. We'll show you some new robots and AI before the show is over too. Interesting news, big show. Interesting news about the ICE agent who was either struck or not struck by Renee Good. I'm forgetting her name at the moment. Renee Good. They use 3 names for her now. Renee Good, I think is what her name was. So interesting news about that, in that CBS News and ABC News are both reporting that the ICE officer suffered internal bleeding, citing multiple either 2 sources or multiple sources, depending on the news, And many people are skeptical of that report and are referring back to the video to see where he would have been struck. Apparently, internal bleeding in the torso. That's what they're saying. I will look at the video again to see if that looks likely. We also have her dad, Renee's dad, was on the news and actually isn't even mad about the ICE officer shooting her, and is more mad that she was there in the first place. So interesting reaction from her family member. So I will show you that video of his interview. Interesting things being done by the government. We're not doing visa applications for like 75 different countries, apparently to stop immigrants from stealing from us. So big campaign on by the White House, probably after the videos from Nick Shirley exposing the Somali daycare scams. Many people are up in arms about fraud and about foreigners and immigrants using welfare and other public benefits. So that's the reason we're giving for stopping visa applications from 75 different countries. And this is in the year that we are hosting the World Cup. So it includes Brazil, for example. And probably a lot of Brazilians would want to come here and see their team play. So it's an interesting time. One of the things that happened is we actually had net outward migration last year for the first time in many long time. More foreigners left than came. So mission accomplished as far as what Trump was trying to accomplish as far as that goes. So we're doing an investigation, an FBI raid on a journalist, which I don't approve of. A journalist that works for the Washington Post, who apparently speaks to a lot of sources inside the government, and was apparently speaking to somebody who is currently in jail for holding classified information. So kind of an attack on the First Amendment from the government. I do have a few polls, and there's more news on Greenland today. We met with the Greenland people. Trump still insists that we have to take it. I have polls saying that Americans don't want us to. So another thing the administration might be on the wrong side of as far as public opinion, but I'll show you that. We had a meeting with Greenland. We are at an impasse. We are at an impasse at the moment. We still want it. They still don't want us. So it's not you, it's me kind of situation. Agree to disagree kind of situation. So thanks for joining us for the show. Benja77 says internal bleeding equals a bruise. Yeah, I'm looking at the video. We'll show it to you again from the best angle, the one that shows it the best. Very interesting report. Internal bleeding. Didn't seem like there's any video showing that he was struck in a hard way and the hood of the car wouldn't reach his torso. So it's an interesting report. Terry Miller says a Somali daycare is a better investment than gold. Yeah, anytime you can just steal money for free. So do you want to do some economic news to start the show? What do you want to start with? I'll start with a video of an annoying Jewish person. I'll start with that video to show you that just because, and then we'll get into it. There is a report on Candace Owens today too from Nick Fuentes, which I might look into. Apparently she said something controversial on her show today. I'm not watching her show every day anymore. I'm over it. It got boring. She's moved on. So if anybody cares still, it looks like the Charlie Kirk investigation is over. And now we're into some other conspiracy theories about child trafficking and stuff, which fair enough. Child trafficking is real. So anyway, thanks for joining me for this show. Thanks for sticking with me as we go all over the map, as we give you news from different sources, as we play you videos from the internet and report on things. Thanks for joining us at the Lift the Veil show, where we play a 10-year-old introduction video. Okay, cue musical intro. Boy, that's brilliant. I do think some things in the world are real. Like you guys. You guys are real. Most of you. Most of my listeners, I think, are not just in my head. I think I have the metrics to prove it. You've taken a leap of faith today. What is that sound? And I apologize if you take offense. I'm a little offended myself. Welcome to our show. Welcome to the future. What it is, joining you live from sunny California. It's a beautiful day today. I'm your host, Nathan Stoltman. And I bring you the news, the real news.
You will never be able to defeat racism because racism is a mentality and an ideology, right? You can't dictate your way out of how people think. What you can do is you can tell a bus driver in the 21st century that if you tell a black guy to go to the back of the bus, we will haul your ass to jail that night. Yet for whatever reason, when it comes to anti-Semitism, when someone commits an anti-Semitic act, we don't send them to jail. Instead, we get the ADL to say, let's bring them to a Holocaust museum, which A, gives them pretty bad ideas, and B, doesn't solve anything about the fundamental issue that they violated the law. So the way we solve anti-Semitism is pretty goddamn simple, and I'm really besides myself that we don't push for this with all the major Jewish organizations. When someone commits a crime, stop sending them on El Al flights. That will make them more anti-Semitic, I guarantee it. Send their ass to jail. It's not complicated. I don't care if people think that we have horns. I don't care if people think we control the banks. I don't care if people think that we run Hollywood. I don't have them think what they want. What I care is when they throw rocks through the synagogue. And the only response when people throw rocks through a synagogue is prosecuting them, which is why when Claudine Gay, the serial plagiarist at Harvard University, was discriminating against the civil rights of Jewish students, we filed a lawsuit. We took the law into our hands. And I encourage any student, whether you are Jewish or Christian, anytime your civil rights are being violated, hold your universities accountable. For those of us who live in New York, anytime Mamdani violates the law or Students for Justice in Palestine violate the law, stop sending them to Holocaust museums, stop sending them to ADL dinners, send them to jail instead.
Very happy. Send the Goyim to jail. Send them to jail. He sets up a false premise, I believe. Throwing a brick through a window, people go to jail for that every time. I'm not sure what he's talking about. It's not like when people actually commit crimes. It's the thought crimes that also we are supposed to go to jail over, I believe. Or the crimes of being racist or being, I think actually I don't even know if it's a crime to tell a black person to go to the back of the bus. Maybe it is. It's a lot different than protesting or saying from the river to the sea. I think that's what he'd like to be a crime. You can't say free Palestine. Free Palestine is anti-Semitic, right? From the river to the sea is a call for genocide, etc. So throw them all in jail. Throw the Goyim in jail. Well, there you go. I played you that video to start out to give you some red meat. Let me see what this story is about. No, I don't care about that. I don't really care about Candace Owens today. All right. Do you guys want to I kind of want to get into financial news a little bit. I said silver was up a lot. Let's look at silver. And you guys tell me what you think is going to happen. A lot of people who are bullish on silver talk about the ratio of silver to gold, which historically back in time was something like 15-1. And now it's 50-1. And before that, before the pumping, it was like 80-1. And the people who say the pump will continue up to some maybe like $500 or $600 are ones that are calling for the return of the old ratio. So is silver actually being remonetized as money? It's a really good question. Should you buy a lot? I don't know. I don't know. I wasn't going to buy any because you don't want to buy something when it's peaking or pumping. You usually want to buy when it comes down. Buy the dip, they say to buy the dip, but this thing doesn't dip. So let's just look at silver real quick. I will share this tab. Gold is doing well too. And what is it a sign of? What is it a sign of? It's a sign that the dollar is collapsing. That's the question. Gold is at 46.20. Silver's at 92.6. It was up some huge amount yesterday. It peaked at $93.70. And if you want to buy a nice ounce of silver right now, it's going to cost you over $100 with the premium, and they're sold out of a lot of different versions of silver. My favorite being American Eagles, and that is the favorite. That is the silver standard. But you are paying $105. I checked today, and you might have to wait for it. If you want to get 20 of them, it's over $2,100. That's a tube. And I don't know what to say. I can't say what's going on. It could be a sign that things are bad. A lot of people say that it's a sign that the dollar is going to collapse, which it already is doing all the time. I am still someone who says we may experience deflation in the future due to credit problems, because we now have more debt than we've ever had, ever. All of us, everybody, humans, real estate, margin, gambling, etc., credit cards, car loans, house loans, biggest ever of all time. And those things usually don't end well. And it can end with something like deflation, which would also be bad for silver and gold. But right now, it just doesn't seem that way. Everything's going up: gold, silver, Bitcoin. We're going to look at Bitcoin and cryptocurrencies, which we're pumping today too. Cryptocurrencies. Bitcoin's at 97,000 again already, 96.8 now. But I really want to talk to you guys about Monero and privacy cryptocurrency. I was going to buy in a week ago and I didn't. And this is a daily chart of that currency, which has gone nuclear. Monero. Oh, let me take down these comments. In the last week, it's up something like 70, 80%. It went up to $800 from below 500 7 days ago. And it was up all last year while Bitcoin was down. And the reason being is that the IRS is about to start finding people who have been evading taxes. So they are going to, there's a new rule in 2026 that you have to report, or that Coinbase and central exchanges have to report your external addresses, where they can track everything you do in your wallets that are off the grid, previously off the grid. Problem with cryptocurrency is you can track it. And once they find your wallet, they can see everything you do in your wallet. And you don't have to report it to you have to report it to the IRS, but they don't necessarily know about it until this year, starting January 1st. So I asked Gemini why Monero in particular is pumping. One of its competitors is all the developers left, Zcash. So now everybody who's into privacy is going to Monero. But there are several reasons why people are buying privacy cryptocurrency, also having to do with our war stuff, because they're talking about tracking Bitcoin being used by foreign governments like Venezuela and Iran, and tracking everybody who's ever touched that Bitcoin and freezing it. So anyway, just wanted to tell you about Monero. It's probably worth getting some. It's very volatile. It was up to 800. Now it's at 715, but it's still been kind of going up a lot every single day. And it is the real cryptocurrency where they don't know what you're doing with it, and they can't see how much you have, and it just can't be tracked, which is different from all the other cryptocurrencies. So I'll show you just right now. It's down over the last few hours. It peaked out around $800, but earlier, not very long ago, it was $400. It's almost doubled in just a matter of about a week. So if you're thinking about silver, think about Monero too, because it is another way that you can have cash off the grid, which is why silver and gold are nice. So silver, gold, they can't track if they're physical. You can buy it in cash from your local coin dealer if you're lucky. And when you sell it, it's anonymous. So you wouldn't you're supposed to report your gains. But as long as you sell less than $10,000 worth, then it isn't reported under anti-money laundering laws. So if you ever need anything as far as buying Monero, if you ever need consulting, I do crypto consulting. You can text me at the show phone number, 8650-GAY-TAXI. You can text me and we can consult about it. But pay your taxes, report everything to the government, confess. But it looks like people are showing a preference for dark crypto right now. So just wanted to make sure everybody's aware of that. But Sean says use cold storage your crypto. Cold is a weird term. As a cryptocurrency holder, I wouldn't tell you how I deal with my cryptocurrency, but I'm not opposed in general. For most people, have probably owning it on Coinbase is the safest. A lot of people who keep it in their own wallet lose their keys, get hacked, give away their keys for no reason. Their wallet gets compromised. So I recommend to probably 99% of people just get regular crypto on a normal exchange and just leave it there. It's probably safer than trying to deal with it yourself. But cold storage means that your wallet isn't installed or something. I don't even know. I don't think it's a real term. Jersey says lost it in a boating accident. Yeah, that's the best way to say it. So anyway, just wanted to report on that. All right. You want to get to the news? Is there anything else? The Names 4D says silver has not peaked. It's going to 500 to 1,000 an ounce. Just thinking demand, let alone the money system switch. Yeah, it could. The demand seems kind of endless right now, but so I don't know. I don't have better advice than to buy some on a regular basis, dollar cost average. You can never go wrong if you do that, because it is known for crashing. It is known for pumping and dumping. That's all it's ever done in its history. It goes on massive runs and then dumps. So if past is prologue, then it could do that at any given time still. So be cautious. But all right. So anyway, that's that. Let's get to the various news items. Here. Once again, the State Department is pausing visa processing from 75 countries. This is from the Department of State. 75 countries whose migrants take welfare from the American people at unacceptable rates. So we're finding migrants that are on welfare, like Somalis. Somalis are massively on welfare, even after they've been here for like 10 years. So that's why we're in Minnesota. I mean, really, this whole thing with Minnesota might have all started with Nick Shirley. It started, I'm trying to think if it started first with Trump saying that Somalis were committing a lot of fraud in Minnesota. And then Nick Shirley did his investigation. And then we decided to send ICE and DHS there. And they're roaming the streets doing random checks of people. Apparently, they're trying to denaturalize Somalis who are citizens, who they can find a reason to denaturalize them. So I think that's what we're trying to do right now. We're thinking about it's rather unprecedented. We're thinking about taking citizenship away from people. At first, we were doing that for people that were anti-Semitic. Now we're thinking about doing that for people who committed fraud. So anyway, interesting because we have the World Cup coming. The whole world kind of hates us right now. So especially Greenland. I report on this. The Pam Bondi is reporting that the Department of Justice, at the request of the Department of War, executed a search warrant at the home of a Washington Post journalist who is obtaining and reporting classified and illegally leaked information from a Pentagon contractor. Now, I believe journalists are allowed to do that until now. So we are raiding the homes of journalists right now to catch government leakers. But previously, we leave journalists alone. I mean, there was Watergate, right? There were the what Glenn Greenwald did with Assange and with Edward Snowden. What journalists do generally is constitutionally protected, and this person had a lot of sources inside the government, allegedly, and her phones and other things were all taken from her where they could find out who her sources were. And as a sort of journalist, as a pretend journalist myself, I disagree with that kind of activity. It's opening a new front for the government to be going after journalists. So I thought I'd report on that news today. Okay. ICE. Okay. People, in my comments yesterday, I said that ICE wasn't, people claimed I said that ICE isn't law enforcement. So I just thought I'd address that. They're just different from police officers and they have different duties. So, and some of the commands they're giving aren't legal commands. So that's all I'm saying about ICE is that they're not allowed to do traffic stops, for example. They are allowed to enforce federal laws. So if they have a good reason to believe you're an illegal immigrant, a good reason, they are supposed to be allowed to do something about it. Otherwise, if you're interfering with their job, them going about the legal process of their job, they're also allowed to do something about it. And sometimes they're able to arrest you for it. It's just questionable in many cases whether they have justification for some of the things they do. And traditionally, like Republicans back in the day, were very leery of federal agents getting involved with law enforcement. And there was like the Bundy Ranch standoff and so forth. So previously, Republicans used to be very against federal agents like the Bureau of Land Management and so forth coming around and going after you previously. So it's different now that Republicans are in support of federal agents roaming the streets and pretending or what have you to enforce laws. That's all. So they are law enforcement, but it's questionable whether some of the commands they're giving are legal. So I'll just show you another video of that. I mean, I know I lose subscribers every day. But I can't worry about that too much. I'm just kind of showing you guys what people are seeing because there are political implications for it. That's all. There are just political implications for the White House and the administration being on the wrong side of, or I shouldn't say the wrong side, be on a different side than the American people are in general. So I know what Pirate Justin thinks. Pirate Justin calls you bootlickers. That's what Pirate Justin calls you, those of you who support the state. So I'm kind of libertarian, that's all. So forgive me for my opinions. This is the news, though, today, which many people are questioning if it's true. So you guys tell me. CBS News says, we're breaking. The ICE agent who fatally shot Renee Good on January 7th in Minneapolis, Jonathan Ross, suffered internal bleeding to the torso following the incident, according to 2 U.S. officials briefed on his medical condition. So because of the medical laws, HIPAA, we're not going to be allowed to, the news wouldn't be able to report on his actual medical records. So I'm not sure if there's any way to verify the veracity of this claim being made by administration officials and being leaked intentionally to paint him as the victim in this case, or to paint their case as better than people believe it to be so far, that he shot her because he was in fear for his life. So that is the intention of these leaks. It's just but many people are skeptical. Many people take it as another reason to believe that he definitely fired in self-defense. So this is the video from the best angle where you can see it the most of him getting struck or allegedly struck, and it's slowed down and stuff. So we'll just look at it again. This person is asking where you see the ICE officer being hit in the torso. Slow-mo sound to it. He is off to the side, pulls his gun. That's where he would get struck. You don't see it. You just don't see it. There's another angle too, but this is where it would have happened, right there, where he's behind the other guy. But he really is off to the side a lot. So I wonder, and then he does shoot 2 more times after he's on the other side of the vehicle. There, he's still shooting once he's off to the side. So anyway, the Department of Justice, I believe, is not looking into it. They're continuing to look into the crimes of her and her widow. And that's why allegedly a number of federal prosecutors resigned, because rather than actually investigating it as possibly an unjustified killing, they're just not investigating it that way. That's all. They're just not going to investigate it that way. And so it looks like it's not going to be investigated. She's suing them. Her family is suing for an unjustified killing by the police, and they've picked up George Floyd's lawyer. So it will go to court in some form, most likely. And then we'll see what happens. We'll just see what a jury says and stuff. That would be my preferred outcome, is just to see, let everybody present their evidence, let a jury decide, and then we have to abide by the outcome. That seems like the fairest way to handle things. But the U.S. government is not even looking into it as if it might be an unjustified homicide. So anyway, that's that. Here is her dad talking about it in an interesting way. Her dad is a Trump supporter, and her dad doesn't seem to hold it against the ICE agent that he shot her. So I'll play you that clip.
I want to ask you about this. When you talk about the confusion, and you've been open, obviously, about your support for the president, when you look at the videos of what happened, and I'm sure they're very hard for you, Timmy, to watch if you've even been able to. But the Deputy Attorney General says that the Justice Department doesn't believe that there's evidence to back a criminal investigation, right? And nothing about charges or anything, that just an investigation into what happened in terms of the ICE agents' actions. But they were, according to the prosecutors resigning today, pressuring them to investigate Renee's actions and Becca, her wife's actions. How do you feel about all that?
Well, I'm not blaming anybody. I mean, it's a hard situation all the way around. It's hard for for everybody involved. I mean, the ICE agent, at first I didn't see the footage where, he was actually, he was actually being ran. I mean, I seen the bump of the car hitting his legs. And so in a flash like that, it's hard to say how you would react. From my understanding that he had been through that before, maybe dragged or something.
Hey, thanks for that. Imagine that. and I'm reading the screen now, is not her real dad. So I presented the information incorrectly, and I stand corrected by the words on the screen. It's her ex-father-in-law, the father of her ex-husband. And now, of course, she's married to a female. So it's the father of her ex-husband, not her father. So, okay, definitely different. Thank you for that. Imagine that. Appreciate the output.
And so, like I said, it's just a hard situation for everybody. Becca, she's a great person as well. I mean, I don't have any many enemies. I love everybody, and that's what the Bible tells us: love our neighbors as we love ourselves. But I think there's some bad choices, and the word says, "For the wrath of God will come upon the children of disobedience." And it's I don't blame us. I don't blame Rebecca. I don't blame Renee. I just wish that if we're walking the Spirit of God, I don't think she would have been there. That's the way I look at it.
So
he said she disobeyed God, actually, by being there. That's kind of a wild accusation. I think he quoted the Bible and said she kind of deserved it. So that's messed up. But it's not her real dad. So somebody pointed out in the news that Verizon, what am I going to say about Verizon? Verizon went out. I don't know. It is kind of big news, but I don't have any conspiracy theories about it. People's cell phones went out today, not AT&T, but Verizon did. Apparently, maybe some others, but my phone still worked. And sometimes I guess that kind of thing happens. But Verizon did go down today, if that's big news. Maybe it was a cyber attack or something. I don't know. Who knows? There was reports of different cell phone companies going down. Since we're on ice, this is just what they're doing. That appears it's questionable whether it's legal or not. I could have played you some legal analysis. They're doing something called they call it a Kavanaugh stop, because apparently Justice Kavanaugh said that they could stop people and do an immigration check. Now that's not legal, as far as I believe, as far as the Constitution goes, because typically it involves racial profiling. So they're stopping people randomly on the streets and asking them for their papers. And why I say it's not legal is because in this case, they threaten and then don't follow through on their threats, because apparently they realize that they're not allowed to. In this case, they stop somebody with an accent who was probably born in a foreign country, who claims to be a U.S. citizen and refuses to show ID. And they call it an immigration check. And they ask to bring her in her car. They're doing something with their phones, which might involve some kind of artificial intelligence. They're scanning people's faces, and they might be hooked up with Palantir or something. So they're scanning people's faces, they're scanning people's cars. This is what they're doing with their phones. And it's probably feeding into some kind of central database, because we know they're being helped by Palantir. So one of the issues with this is it's putting us all into this weird AI techno surveillance system. So they're scanning with their phones people's cars that are following them, and then they're claiming that people following them are interfering with them, which is questionable. And then they're scanning people's faces to see if they get hits in some kind of a database, I speculate at least. So that's something that's going on with them with their phones out all the time rather than body cameras. But here's an interaction which up until last year would have been considered something that was illegal for them to do. And this person just walks away after refusing to obey. So for everybody who says you must obey law enforcement, technically that's not true. You don't have to obey unlawful commands. You can refuse, and if you do, and the law enforcement individual is following the law, they still have to let you go. So a lot of people have been saying stuff like this. A lot of the what do they call them? I can't remember what they call themselves. A lot of people say you don't even need ID, period, even if you get pulled over by a car, but I don't think that's true. I don't think that works out. When you get pulled over by a real police officer and they ask to show ID and registration, you have to comply. Otherwise, it can be escalated from there. But if you're walking around this country and you're at least 100 miles from the border, if you're within 100 miles of the border, Border Patrol is allowed to ask for papers if they have reasonable suspicion. But they have to they're supposed to at least have reasonable suspicion. But if you're not 100 miles from the border, then you can't just have roadblocks and stuff like that to just ask people for papers.
Do you have an ID on you, ma'am?
I don't need an ID to walk around in my city. This is my
Okay,
city.
do you have
This is
some
my
ID
home.
then, please?
I don't need an
If
ID.
not, we're going to put you in the vehicle and we're going to ID you.
ID.
Huh?
I'm not going to take out. You take out your ID.
You don't have an ID?
I'm not going to take out an ID.
Amen.
I am U.S. citizen. I am U.S. citizen.
All right, can we see an ID, please?
I am U.S. citizen. I don't need to carry around an ID in my home.
Well,
This is my home.
Where were you born?
This is my home.
Where were you born?
Minneapolis is my home.
Ma'am, we're doing an immigration check. We're doing a
This
citizen check.
This is
And we're
where
asking you where you were born.
this is where I belong. This is my home.
Ma'am, you
and
can belong here, but where were you born?
And I am not going to give you an ID.
Then we're going to put you in the vehicle until we can ID you.
I belong here. I should be walking around here free. I shouldn't be afraid in my life at this point.
Ma'am, do you have an
You
ID
making
to
me
give
a
us?
skirt? No.
Yes, you're correct.
You making me a scared. You making me a
Do you
panic.
have an ID?
This is my home.
Ma'am, where were you born?
I am U.S. citizen. I am U.S. citizen. And I don't think so. You have a right to picture me while I am in my home and walking around in my home.
See,
This
it
is
got
not
his camera
acceptable.
out.
You guys, you're terrorizing people,
Ma'am,
and it's not
where
acceptable.
were you born?
It doesn't matter where I was born. I belong here. I am U.S. citizen. What else can I say? I am citizen. This is my home.
You realize that if you lie that you're a U.S. citizen,
Minneapolis is my home.
then you can get
Minneapolis is
federal
my
charges.
home. I belong here. I'm sorry. I belong here.
yes.
I'm not gonna take out an ID. What the fuck?
They just walk away. So apparently she was right. Apparently she was right. Apparently it is your right to say that, because otherwise they would have forced her into the car, where they said somehow they're going to ID her, which probably involves some kind of sophisticated scanning system or something that we don't even know about. But I just wanted to show you an interaction. They called it a citizen check, I believe. She refused to say where she was born. She refused to provide identification, and they left. They weren't allowed to do anything more. So apparently, by their reaction, she was within her rights to do that. So Sly Girl says no warrant, no probable cause. Imagine that. It says this is a police state. They have AI facial recognition that scans through 36,000 images a second. So anyway, that's just an example of it. So I've been showing you guys some of that from, like I said, from kind of a libertarian perspective. So, all right, the title of this, okay. So Israel and somebody else said that we were going to strike Iran within 24 hours. I saw somebody else say that we were going to strike Iran because otherwise Trump would look bad, because he's been tweeting that he's going to strike Iran, because he's been truthing so hard that he's going to do something about them killing people at protests. He's been truthing hard about being mad that they kill people at protests. He said he was trying to find out how many they killed because the numbers are unreliable. Some people said they killed 2,000. That reports yesterday were saying 12,000. Another report said 20,000. Then people were allegedly going to start being hanged today for protesting. Trump said if they start hanging people, then he's going to do something. He keeps saying, we're going to do something. We're going to do something. I know what we're going to do. I'm not going to tell you what we're going to do. Apparently, he's been asking other countries for intelligence information for what we should do if we do something. We're going to do something. We're going to do something. We've evacuated some military personnel from local bases. So there are lots of signs that we're going to do something every day. There are signs we're going to do something every day. The pizza indicator goes off. They're ordering tons of pizzas at the Pentagon every day. When I'm on Twitter, at least that's what I see. X, but I call it Twitter still. It will be Twitter forever. Every day the pizza index is going off. Every day they're talking about new American planes flying in the area. A bunch of reports today about refueling planes flying into the area. We're about to strike Iran. We're about to strike Iran. So many people are pointing out that we have shown every country that we hate the government of that their best way to get us to leave them alone is to build a nuclear weapon like North Korea, because North Korea does whatever they want. Because they've convinced the world that they're crazy. First, you have to build the nuclear weapons and then convince everybody that you're insane and that you're willing to use the nuclear weapons, even though, of course, you'd be annihilated entirely if you ever did. Nuclear weapons are a wonderful invention for peace. In this broadcaster's opinion, I love nuclear weapons. How I learned to love the bomb, because nobody's ever going to use them. And I don't even think we ever used them in Japan, to be honest with you, but that's another story. Another story whether they're real or not. But they're a wonderful invention for peace because nobody ever is going to use them. They're only there in case they might as well be imaginary, because if you ever used one, then you'd end up getting destroyed. Mutually assured destruction. But what North Korea did, building nuclear weapons allegedly, and then acting insane, like you're willing to use them at any time, means that we never F with North Korea. And we're apparently friends, and Trump is friends with the guy, apparently. He loves him. So anyway, that's what we're showing people they should do. And I support Iran. I'm far from an Iran hawk. I support Iran getting nuclear weapons. I support Iran having ballistic missiles. I support every country being allowed to have weapons to defend themselves from aggressors. I support Iran's right to have weapons to defend itself, because Israel threatens Iran, even though everybody wants to think it's the other way around. Iran maybe is responsible for some terrorist attacks. Maybe they're responsible for some terrorist groups, but they haven't invaded another country. Neither is China. They haven't been involved in any wars of aggression the way we have and the way Israel has. So I support other countries, even if there are enemies. I support their right to have weapons to defend themselves. I support Iran's right to go ahead and develop nuclear weapons, because Israel is a threat to Iran's existence, at least as much as Iran is a threat to Israel's existence. They're geopolitical enemies, Iran and Israel, but Israel is the aggressor in most cases. So if we're thinking about striking something, we're thinking about striking Israel, who, we can argue controls U.S. policy in a lot of ways. Israel wants their ballistic missiles destroyed. They find them to be threatening, and they want their nukes destroyed, their nuclear program. They don't even want them having nuclear power. The 12-day war, actually, it might have been good for Israel that it ended so soon, because if it had gone on any longer, it looked like Iran might have won that war. In a war of attrition, Iran with ballistic missiles and enough of them can win in a war where they're lobbing missiles at Israel for day after day after day, because the Iron Dome runs out of missiles and costs a lot more. It costs a lot more for defensive missiles than it costs for offensive missiles. So in a war of attrition, Iran can win if they can just keep lobbing a certain number of missiles at Israel day after day after day. Eventually, the Iron Dome runs out of juice, especially without support from the United States. But even with it, their missile, it costs a lot, and they have to fire a lot more of them for every single Iranian missile. And what we saw at the end of the 12-day war was that Iranian missiles were starting to get through at a higher rate. So eventually Israel would probably lose a war with Iran if they're allowed to develop their ballistic missiles. But they only fired them after they got attacked. They didn't start the war. They only fired them because they know better than to start a war, because they'd get destroyed. Most countries know you don't start a war with America. So you don't pick a fight with Israel because you know America is going to defend Israel. You don't pick a fight with America because America will just destroy you. Taco Trump. Okay, so that's a bunch of stuff I just said. But Taco Trump is tacoing out again, I believe. Taco stands for Trump always chickens out, like on many of his tariffs and everything else. Trump always chickens out. It appears that even though the headline says 24 hours to war, it appears to me that this video I'm about to play you, where Trump is sitting next to a nice glass bottle of whole milk. Whole milk might be going back into schools. Whole milk is on the new food inverse pyramid. And I drink whole milk and it's good for you as long as you can digest it, which some people can't. He's sitting next to a bottle of whole milk, talking about Iran and tacoing, I believe. So I don't think we're going to strike Iran based on this clip. You can decide whether or not you agree with my analysis. Okay, here, Taco.
We've been told that the killing in Iran is stopping, and it's stopped, and it's stopping. And there's no plan for executions or executions. So I've been told that on good authority. We'll find out about it. I'm sure if it happens, we'll all be very upset, including you will be very upset. But that's just gotten to me, some information that the killing has stopped, that the executions have stopped. They're not going to have an execution, which a lot of people were talking about for the last couple of days. Today was going to be the day of execution. And another piece of information that I think is very important is the leaker has been found.
Okay. And then he was getting into the leaker and the attack on the First Amendment by going after the Washington Post journalist. So in the news today, I give you guys all the news. This is the best news show on the internet. I still believe that, even though we don't get that many people tuned in and people make fun of us occasionally because they're like, who's going to listen to you? You're a nobody. I still think this is the best news show online. We give you all the news. Today, we are offering schools to have 2% and whole milk. I guess before they had skim. I grew up drinking skim. I mean, the government has effed us in so many ways on food. I used to bake cookies and stuff, and I used margarine. They convinced us to use margarine instead of butter. I was drinking skim milk with my cookies. I should have been using butter and whole milk. And then they convinced us, when I used to train for triathlons, I used to eat all this low-fat food, egg whites. They convinced us that egg whites are good because the yolk is bad for you. All these things they have told us in the past have just been totally false. Things that taste good and are natural tend to be good for you. Like ribeye steak, there's a reason it tastes so good. It's because it's good for you. It has fat. Fat is good for you. chicken, dark meat. I'm waiting for them to say that. And then they convinced us to eat chicken breasts only because they're like no fat. Chicken breasts are dry and terrible. The Chinese know they like dark meat. Chinese know. Asians know they like fried chicken, dark meat, even though fried chicken might still be bad for you. Nothing wrong with some fat. Nothing wrong with fat, natural fats. Even cholesterol, they're saying they were wrong about. So he's sitting next to a nice bottle of whole milk. That's what he's sitting next to. They told us red meat was bad. All because some, I don't even know what they were thinking. All those things that you thought were bad. Generally, in my opinion, if it tastes good, it feels good, and it's relatively natural, then it's good. We like things for a reason. Then some things people think taste funny. I like Brussels sprouts. I think they taste good, but you have to prepare them in a kind of funky way. But nothing wrong with lots of butter, whole milk, animal fat, etc. So that was, and what do you think? You think it seems like a taco to me. Seems like we're not going to strike Iran because apparently they agreed not to hang people and they stopped killing protesters, in Trump's opinion. So a lot of people are going to be mad about that, including Lindsey Graham, including maybe the Israelis. We've had some advice not to strike from, I believe, Saudi Arabia and maybe even Israel. They told them not to strike because if we do, the problem is that the people might actually support the current regime even more. That if we're the ones seen as trying to do the regime change rather than the people, then the people might rally behind the regime. So that's another bet, though, on Kalshi. I bet that Khomeini is going to be out before the end of the year because of the protests, mostly, though, because of the progress I was seeing with the actual protests from the people of Iran. But we'll see. That's still, the jury's out. All right. Moving on. We're still in national security news. So Trump tweeted about Greenland again today. Even though Americans widely don't support this, according to a new poll. Donald Trump truthed again today, once again repeating the same line and adding something new, that we need Greenland for the Golden Dome. Capital G, capital D. Golden Dome, that's a new missile defense system. The Golden Dome. But until we can stop hypersonic missiles, then our adversaries have an advantage over us. Or anybody, because you can't defend against hypersonic missiles, even if we have a Golden Dome. Everything is gold from Donald Trump, which is cool because gold is good. Donald J. Trump truthed, the United States needs Greenland for the purpose of national security. It is vital for the Golden Dome that we are building. NATO should be leading the way for us to get it. All caps. If we don't, Russia or China will, and that is not going to happen. And all caps. Militarily, without the vast power of the United States, much of which I built during my first term and am now bringing to a new and even higher level, NATO would not be an effective force or deterrent, not even close. They know that, and so do I. NATO becomes far more formidable and effective with Greenland in the hands of the United States. Anything less than that is unacceptable. Thank you for your attention to this matter, President DJT. Okay, this thing about Russia and China taking Greenland, we are part of NATO. He is implying that we won't defend Greenland, I guess. He's implying that we won't abide by Article 5 of the NATO treaty because we're obliged to defend Greenland if China or Russia try to F with it. And that's why they're never going to F with it. It doesn't matter whether we own it or Denmark owns it. We're still obliged to defend it by Article 5 of the NATO treaty. So I'm not sure what his argument is. It's insane. And Denmark said that they're surrounded by Chinese ships. Denmark said their intelligence shows that they haven't had Chinese ships around them for 20 years. So no, Russia and China, it seems outrageous to say that Russia or China are going to take Greenland, or that it would matter whether it was ours officially or one of our NATO allies. We're still defending NATO. We're still defending Greenland. We have a Space Force base in Greenland. We get to position more soldiers in Greenland. We're allies with Denmark. If we want to set up a Golden Dome, they'd probably let us. I said people aren't that happy about it. I'll just show you polling. Then I'll show you the meme warfare. Only 17% of Americans approve of U.S. efforts to acquire Greenland. 47% are totally opposed. Then a bunch of people don't care. 40% of Republicans think we should take Greenland, but almost zero Democrats think we should, and 9% of independents think we should. And these independents are the ones I'm going to keep focusing on, because that's who people need to win elections. Because Republicans support Republicans, Democrats support Democrats, but independents change their mind. Is it a good idea for U.S. to take Greenland using military force? Only 4% say yes. So whatever the messaging is, people aren't buying it. According to this Reuters Ipsos survey of 1,200 adults, only 17% of people approve. And 36% of people don't care. And 47% of people do care and say we shouldn't. So it's like, once again, just constantly harping on it over and over again. We have to take Greenland. We have to take Greenland. Then they met with us today, and they don't want us to take Greenland. We're doing meme warfare. This is what the White House tweeted out today, which is actually, I don't even think they did the meme right. They didn't even do the meme right. But in this meme, they have the flag of Greenland, which actually I think is a pretty cool flag, with some huskies, with dog sleds, with no humans on them. Either going to a sunny blue sky United States flag and White House, or to a dark purple lightning China and Russia path. It's the classic meme, except there should only be one dog sled making the choice. That's all. That's why I said they got the meme wrong, because it should only be one dog sled that's choosing between the two, not two dog sleds, one going each way. That seems like they've screwed up the meme a little bit. So we memed at them. Our White House official account said, "Which way, Greenland man? Toward the evil Russia and China, or toward the nice United States of America?" And then Denmark or Greenland memed us back and had the dog sled going toward I believe that's a NATO flag, a Greenland flag, and a Denmark flag. So that is what they memed us back with. And going into a nice, also it looks nice. There are nice flowers, snow, and mountains. Just describing it for my podcast listeners. It is a 3 husky dog sled. Dog sled racing is brutal. Sometimes they have to, those dogs die on that Iditarod thing. And I think sometimes they eat them. It's kind of cruel sometimes. The dog sled dogs do like to run. They do like it. But sometimes they die when they're on the Iditarod. This is Trump talking about it again at the meeting today.
Right now, it sounds like you are saying that you would potentially acquire Greenland by force. That would be a NATO country. The United. Are you saying that? Would you do that?
No, you're saying that.
Would you
I
acquire
didn't
it by
say it.
force
No,
right
you're
now?
telling me that that's what I'm going to do. You don't know what I'm going to do.
So what are the options?
Your network doesn't know either.
The Danish foreign minister said that there's still fundamental differences after the meeting with Rubio and with the vice president. Are you willing to leave the NATO alliance in order to get what you want with Greenland? What are the options right now?
Well, I wouldn't be telling you what I'm willing to do, certainly. I'm not going to give up options, but it's very important. Greenland's very important for the national security, including of Denmark. And the problem is not a thing that Denmark can do about it if Russia or China wants to occupy Greenland. But there's everything we can do. You found that out last week with Venezuela. There's everything we can do about things such as that. Not going to happen. We're not, I can't rely on Denmark being able to fend themselves off. They were talking about they put an extra dog, and they were serious about this. They put an extra dog sled there last month. They added a second dog sled. That's not going to do the trick.
Denmark fought alongside the United States in both Afghanistan
Thank you for
and
telling me
Iraq.
that. I appreciate it.
But
I have a very good relationship
They're
with
an
Denmark,
ally
and we'll see how it all
still.
works out. I think something will work out.
There we go. He thinks something will work out. He's not going to reveal, of course, any military plans. Here is one of his advisors, Doug Burgum, talking about it, saying how everybody loves Trump. Here's Burgum talking about it on Fox Business with, I believe, Maria Bartiromo.
But Greenland's prime minister is refusing to turn over sovereignty. He said in a press conference yesterday, quote, "We are now facing a geopolitical crisis. If we have to choose between the U.S. and Denmark here and now, we choose Denmark, NATO, and the European Union." Here's what happened when the president heard that. Watch this.
On Greenland, sir, the premier of Greenland said today, "We prefer to stay with Denmark." Do you see that as the
Who
final
said
word?
that?
The premier of Greenland.
Well, that's their problem. That's their problem. I disagree with him. I don't know who he is, don't know anything about him, but that's going to be a big problem for him.
Secretary, what do you think the president is referring to?
Well, I think that the strategy here and the opportunity for building a relationship between the United States and Greenland is a strong one. And there's a great history of this, of presidents with leadership. I mean, Thomas Jefferson with the Louisiana Purchase, what we saw when Alaska was acquired. And again, I would remind people the Interior Department is responsible for all of our affiliated states that we have around the world in the South Pacific and the Western Pacific, and our territories that we've got military bases like Guam in the Pacific, U.S. Virgin Islands. I mean, 14 time zones span across interior. And of course, Greenland, we need to remind people, think it's far away. It's closer to Washington, D.C. than Alaska is, certainly closer than Hawaii and any of the Pacific Islands that are affiliated with the United States, either as affiliated as states of their own independent or as U.S. territories with U.S. citizens. But I think there's a great opportunity here. I think President Trump, the greatest deal maker in the world. World leaders meet him. They like him. He's never met the premier of Greenland before. They'll be interesting to see how these talks go today. Keep that conversation going. But from a strategic standpoint, from a national security standpoint, President Trump 100% correct with what's going on with Russia in the Arctic, what China, their influence up there, China building weather stations in Greenland. These aren't weather stations. This is about North American and European security. If you look at that map from the top of the world down, Greenland plays a critical role in protecting both North America and Europe from incursion from Asia. And President Trump's absolutely right. That needs to be in control of someone who's even stronger than NATO. That's the United States of America.
Yeah, so because of where it is, right? So close to Russia.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
So close
Meanwhile,
to Russia. Alaska is close to Russia. Greenland isn't even that close to Russia. Greenland isn't close to Russia. Alaska is close to Russia. I think that's why we have Alaska. I don't even know if she knows what she's talking about. He didn't even know they had a premier, I don't think. He was like, I don't even know who that is. But this is the Danish foreign minister. So they had talks today with Marco and JD. JD and Marco met with them. They agreed to disagree. Denmark and Greenland still want. Greenland wants to be with Denmark. Greenland prefers Denmark. Greenland prefers the EU. Greenland likes NATO. how are we stronger than NATO? How are we by ourselves stronger than NATO? I don't understand that logic. We're part of NATO. Maybe NATO can't do anything without us. But to say we're stronger than NATO when we're a part of NATO, that's kind of a weird thing to say. Probably if every NATO country in the world teamed up against us, oh, I think we would have a problem with. I think that would actually be difficult for us to deal with. From what I saw, actually, when you put them all together, all of the other NATO people, they might have more military stuff than we do, especially if you include Ukraine, which isn't part yet. I saw some infographics saying actually they might have more military material than we do when you put them all together. So I'm not sure how that all works. Anyway, this is what the Danish foreign minister said.
The president has made his view clear, and we have a different position. We, the Kingdom of Denmark, continue to believe that also the long-term security of Greenland can be ensured inside the current framework, the 1951 agreement on the defense of Greenland, as well as the NATO treaty. For us, ideas that would not respect territorial integrity of the Kingdom of Denmark and the right of self-determination of the Greenlandic people are, of course, totally unacceptable. And we therefore still have a fundamental disagreement, but we also agree to disagree. And therefore we will, however, continue to talk. We have decided to form a high-level working group to explore if we can find a common way forward. The group, in our view, should focus on how to address the American security concerns, while at the same time respecting the red lines of the Kingdom of Denmark. We expect that such a group will meet for a first time within a matter of weeks.
There you go. So he says they're going to form a working group to talk about it. So that's good. It's good they're going to talk about it. Somebody said we should offer them $54 billion. Well, there's reporting today that it's supposed to be $500 to $700 billion, which would be almost $10 million per person, or maybe even more than that. So that's what some apparently scholars and former U.S. officials say it would cost, is $500 to $700 billion, or at least $10 million per resident. There's 57,000 people there. More than the entire GDP of Denmark, which is like $403 billion. And this points out that of the 57,000 residents, 85% are opposed to the idea of joining the United States, apparently. So 500 to 700 billion. And then we're going to increase military spending. I mean, we're just spending money at that point. I don't know where we're supposed to get $500 billion. Just pull it out of our, whats or what? But that's what some experts are saying. So who knows? Before, somebody was saying 50 billion would do it. That'd be $1 million per person. Okay. All right. That's geopolitical news finalized. We have some transgender news. We just have a very interesting interaction on Capitol Hill today. The classic question, contrary to emojis, which you can get on your iPhone that show a pregnant man, we know that men actually can't get pregnant. Here is an actual doctor testifying and being asked over and over and over again if men can get pregnant. It's sort of a stunning interaction. So I will play it for you. It's Josh Hawley, who, because he defied the president, Donald Trump said he should never be elected again. But here is him challenging Dr. Verma.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Since you bring it up, why don't we just start there? Dr. Verma, I wasn't sure I understood your answer to Senator Moody a moment ago. Do you think that men can get pregnant?
I hesitated there because I wasn't sure where the conversation was going or what the goal.
Let me do this while I remember. Sorry. While I remember, I forgot to grift earlier in the show today. We are a banned channel. We are demonetized still. I mean, God, I applied months ago. Let me check my current status. They said they would get back to me in a month. I'm checking my status for super chats. Earn on YouTube. Checking. My reapplication is under review. I applied November 27th. We will email you a decision typically within a month. Well, it's been a month and a half and I'm still under review. So you can super chat me and help me out with my coffee addiction by going to buymeacoffee.com/lifttheveil. That's where I can accept something like super chats. So you can go to buymeacoffee.com/lifttheveil, leave virtual coffees, which are $5 each. You can leave as many as you want and leave a message. And I go to my coffees at the end of every show and read any new messages that I get during the show or after the show from the day before. You can do it 24 hours a day by going to buymeacoffee.com/lifttheveil. No tax on tips. They are considered tips, I believe. So you can be satisfied that I will receive most of them, which is more than you would get if you were giving me a super chat. You can also buy t-shirts by going to truthclothing.io, which is our t-shirt store. I'm wearing a propaganda t-shirt today. That is something we actually still have in stock in a baseball style that right here for $10. Everything on the website except for one sweatshirt is $10 or $5. It's a going out of business liquidation sale. So take advantage while you can. Get a question everything shirt. Those are always crowd pleasers. Get your cryptocurrency shirts, Bitcoin, crypto future, HODL, Bitcoin saves, $10 and $5. Get your freedom of face shirts. Get your women's styles and question everything. We have many question everything women's styles still in stock. They're really nice slouchies and women's t-shirts for $10 each. Super high quality, last long time, screen printed, in stock. We ship them. We bought them. We stock them. They're not drop shipped. They're not digitally printed. They're not bullshit. They're not cheap. They're expensive, nice t-shirts sold at liquidation prices. Go to truthclothing.io. If you'd like another way to support the show directly by tipping, you can also go to Cash App at $LTV411, which is even better. Or you can go to, I believe through Zelle. You can also Zelle me at LTV411. I believe I set that up. So you can also Zelle or Cash App. Cash App, $LTV411. Zelle LTV411, I believe, works. I haven't gotten any Zelle that way, but I set it up the other day. So many ways you can support the show. You can also subscribe on Substack. You can be a paid subscriber on Substack. You can be a paid subscriber, monthly donator at buymeacoffee.com. Those are the best kinds of supporters. So lots of ways to support the show, even though we don't have super chat still. Okay, back to this.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Since you bring it up, why don't we just start there? Dr. Verma, I wasn't sure I understood your answer to Senator Moody a moment ago. Do you think that men can get pregnant?
I hesitated there because I wasn't sure where the conversation was going or what the goal was. I mean, I do take care of patients with different identities. I take care of many women. I take care of people with different identities. And so that's where I paused. I think, yeah, I wasn't sure where you were going with that.
Well, the goal is just the truth. So can men get pregnant?
Again, the reason I paused there is I'm not really sure what the goal of the question is.
The goal is just to establish a biological reality. You just said a moment ago that science and evidence should control, not politics.
Absolutely.
So let's just test that proposition. Can men get pregnant?
I take care of people with many identities, but
can men get pregnant?
Many women that can get pregnant. I do take care of people that don't identify as women. That
Can men get pregnant?
Again, as I'm saying,
Let me just remind you what you testified to a moment ago. Science and evidence should control, not politics.
Absolutely.
So can men get pregnant? You're a
totally
doctor, I
agree.
think.
Science and evidence should guide medicine.
Do science and evidence tell us that men can get pregnant? Biological men, can they get pregnant?
I also think yes, no questions like this are a political tool. And
No, yes, no questions are about the truth, doctor. Let's not make a mockery of this proceeding. This is about science and evidence. And I'm asking you, the United States Supreme Court just heard arguments yesterday at great length on this question. This is not a hypothetical question. This is not theoretical. It affects real people in their real lives. And you're here as an expert, called by the other side as an expert. And you've been telling us that you follow, right, you're a doctor, and you follow the science and the evidence. So I just want to know, based on the science, can men get pregnant? That's a yes or no question. It really is, I think.
I think you're trying to reduce the complexity of a lot.
I'm not. I'm trying to get, it's not complex. I'm trying to get to an answer, and I'm trying to test, frankly, your veracity as a medical professional and as a scientist. Can men get pregnant?
I think you're also conflating
This is
male
extraordinary.
female with
No, I'm not conflating male and female. They're two different things. There's biological men and there's biological women. And I want to know, can men get pregnant?
what you were talking about is biological.
You're not going to answer my question, it sounds like.
Biological males.
This isn't hard, doctor. Can men get pregnant? Yes or no?
I would be more than happy to have a conversation with you that is not coming from a place of trying to be polarized and push.
I'm not trying to be polarizing. I'm trying to ask, I think it is extraordinary that we are here in a hearing about science and about women. And for the record, it's women who get pregnant, not men.
It also,
We are here about the safety of women and science that shows that this abortion drug causes adverse health events in 11% of cases. That's 22 times greater than the FDA label, another fact you haven't acknowledged. And yet you won't even acknowledge the basic reality that biological men don't get pregnant. There's a difference between biological men and biological women. I don't know how we can take you seriously and your claims to be a person of science if you won't level with this on this basic issue. I thought we were past all of this, frankly. I can't believe we're still here talking about this.
I am a person of science, and I'm also someone here who's here to represent the complex experiences of my patients. And I don't think polarized language or questions serve that goal. I don't think they serve the American people.
It is not polarizing to say that there is a scientific difference between men and women. And I want this to be clear and for the record. It is not polarizing to say that women are a biological reality and should be treated and protected as such. That is not polarizing. That is truth. It is also, by the way, the United States Constitution, which offers unique protections to women in a variety of circumstances as women. And your refusal to recognize women as women and men as men is deeply corrosive to science, to public trust, and yes, to constitutional protections for women as women. And I think it's extraordinary that you would sit here and advance a political agenda that has been thoroughly discredited and rejected by the American people in this forum. And I'm glad we had this exchange because it is exceptionally clarifying. It is also in many ways quite depressing. I see that my time has nearly expired. I just want to thank the other witnesses for being here. Thank you for protecting women and children. Thank you for your valiant efforts. Thank you for following the science. And thank you, Mr. Chairman, for this hearing.
All right, there you go. I guess it's a hearing about the abortion pill. So anyway, that's that news. Men and women. Men have what did he say in Kindergarten Cop? Boys have a penis and girls have a vagina, something like that. It used to be so simple. It was all so simple then. Here's another person that's saying something insane, just to show you.
Why are you splitting up sports? Like, I'm pretty sure a woman could play basketball as well as a man if she practiced and he practiced. Like, what's the issue? Why are you splitting up sports? Like, I'm pretty sure a woman could play basketball as well as a man if she practiced and he practiced. Like, what's the issue? Why are you?
That's a good one. There's a Chinese woman who's like 7'5". I would show you video of that, but I don't have it today. There's a Chinese woman who's just dominating the basketball court because she's so much taller than they are. But there's a reason you don't see trans women in basketball very much because height matters and men are taller. That's all. Mostly on average. Okay. All right. That's that. I have a poll about Venezuela. I don't care about that much. Apparently I'm sorry. Because I talk about polls. Apparently we polled Venezuelans and they support us. We polled 600 Venezuelans and they overwhelmingly support the capture of Maduro. I don't know what to take of that or how we polled Venezuelans. Apparently they really support the US government and Donald Trump. According to Premise, the Economist poll that was just done. So apparently they support our government in Venezuela, which is kind of surprising to me. But apparently that's true. So I thought I'd show it to you. Okay. AI. Finally, AI and robotics. AI and robots. Okay. You ready? This is the year I predict that AI starts replacing us more. It already kind of started last year, but AI and robots will start replacing us. Here's some new artificial intelligence technology that transforms your face. So apparently, in the future, you will not know. People who don't have a face for television will do a lot better because they can replace their face. Here's some Indian guy replacing his face here with a female attractive influencer.
I mean, where the fuck should I really even start? I got hoes that I'm keeping in the dark. I got my niggas cross the street living large. Thinking back to the fact that they dead, thought my raps were the facts, so they sat with the bars. I got 2 phones, one need a charge. Yeah.
That's a lot of Drake. I don't want to get hit with my musical problem. I can't be monetized anyway, so it shouldn't be a big deal, but I got 2 phones, one need a charge. So did you see that? That was some Indian guy who looks like a gamer chick, who looks like a hot gamer chick. What do you think about that? Indian guy looks like a hot gamer chick. Here's another post of something that's very similar. Using Vio, Kling, and Hai Luo character swaps. Here it is with another foreign-looking guy who is being replaced by the full cast of Stranger Things. That guy, that guy, that guy, that guy. Pretty crazy. It's very accurate. I messed with one face swap thing once on this show. I did do a face swap thing, but it's gotten much more advanced. Much more advanced. All right. So here is people say AI isn't going to take jobs. Here is AI doing the drive-through. Here's AI doing the drive-through.
Yeah, could I get the chicken sandwich, please?
What else can I get you?
No, just one of those.
Anything else I can get for you?
Wendy's.
Let me get some chicken tenders too.
We have the following options. Which one would you like?
The three piece.
What sauce?
Let me try some creamy ranch.
What else can I get you?
That's gonna be it.
Would you like to try a new Snickerdoodle fusion?
I would not. Thank you though.
Thank you. Please pull up to the next window.
There you go. So that's it, doing Wendy's drive-through. So they're doing it. It looks pretty sophisticated. It looks like it works, and people are relatively happy with it. See, the thing is we're going to be happy with it. We're not going to be upset about it. We're not going to revolt immediately. We haven't revolted yet. If we understood the implications, we would be revolting. We would blow up Wendy's, but I'm not recommending that. We would be like Molotov cocktailing delivery robots if people really understood. Here's a robot from Boston Dynamics that's going to do work.
First kind in public, and as you can see, its walk is pretty natural and pretty smooth. We've partnered with our sister organization, the Robotics and AI Institute, to push the limits on natural walking just for this performance. And I think we've done something really special. We've also been at this robotics thing for a while, and we've learned that there's more to it than just copying nature. We can pick the best parts of what nature has to offer and do better in others. So as you can see, Atlas here has joints that can move 360 degrees. This lets Atlas move even more efficiently than humans, particularly in manufacturing environments where every second counts. We've also designed Atlas's head and face very purposefully. We want folks working with Atlas.
He has 3 scary fingers that are double jointed. So that's a manufacturing robot or a working robot. So there's that. Oh, let me just show you robot fail. I had this on my timeline. I hadn't shown you this. Robot fail. Here's a motion capture robot kicking a guy in the nuts. And then it's still motion capture, so it looks like it hurt its own nuts. In Idiocracy, they watch a show called Ow, My Balls. That reminds me of that. Ow, my balls. All right, economic news. All right, back pills, bad news, or bad news, good news. Subprime auto loans, they're 60 or more days past due, are the highest they've ever been. All-time high of 6.65%. Subprime auto loans. We told you about people not being, so people are starting to default or run behind on credit card bills and car payments. Housing prices for new houses are dropping rapidly, much more rapidly than used houses, which is the first sign. So this is the signs of the possible deflationary apocalypse. So this is one home builder where home prices have dropped from $511,000 now to $375,000 for a new home. New homes are selling cheaper than used homes, meaning that probably used home prices will start dropping soon, this year probably. All right, there's that. And then the news about old people being the only ones with money. That's why if you take out healthcare, we've only been losing jobs. If you take out healthcare and hospitality, we've been losing jobs because healthcare and hospitality are serving old people. Here are some videos about who can afford to buy things. Okay.
Who can afford to buy these homes now? Because when I bought my home, it was 4x cheaper, 12 years ago. He's like, let me tell you something. Every single person I've shown that house to is getting money from their parents. Every single one. He goes, there's not one person that's looking at that house that's not getting help. So it's just like, it's become like a norm.
I sold my house recently, actually, in LA. It was the same situation. There were multiple offers on it, but all were receiving assistance from their parents. And their parents wanted to give their kids either a leg up or, big milestone events. The kids are getting married, something like this, and here's a house. And I think that's going to be a lot more common for parents to pay for a house than education. Like, instead of going to college, let me help you out with the down payment for a house. And now you got a place to live.
I totally agree. I think this is going to get so much worse, and it's going to create a huge cultural issue with the haves and have-nots.
Okay, that's one story. Only old people have money. That's a story about that. Here's another story about that. So I'll play you this.
Young people don't have any money. So I work full-time in restaurants and bars. I'm a musician and I play in Florida, and I see firsthand the crowds that go to these places. And I can tell you, over the course of the past 5 or so years, the demographic has shifted entirely from all people of all ages to only people like 55 and up. So much so, I have had to change my set list to all old music, which is fine. There's a lot of good old music, but I used to play stuff like John Mayer, Coldplay, stuff you'd hear on like contemporary top 40 radio. That is all considered too new. If I play a Jack Johnson Banana Pancake song, that is too new for everybody. They won't know it. Doesn't matter if I play on the beach, doesn't matter if I play downtown, doesn't matter if I play in a suburban bar somewhere. It is all the same age. And I think the reason for this, nobody younger than that has any money to go out to these restaurants. Nobody has the expendable income to be buying a beer at a bar or getting a hamburger at a restaurant. As someone who's been doing this for about 15 years now, I've played over 3,000 gigs. Okay, I have sang Wonderwall over that many times. So I have been around the block, and I can tell you from firsthand experience that it really is only 55 and up is the age that goes out to restaurants. The only young people I see are the people working behind the bar. We are seeing the wealth disparity in real time between the generational gap. But like, what's going to happen? Are like the 55 and up crowd the only people that are upholding restaurants and keeping them in business? Like, what happens after? You know, like, no one can afford after these people aren't going anymore. Like, what happens to restaurants? You know what I mean? But anyway, look at this Florida.
There you go. So that's another news about that. Yes, everything relies on rich people and boomers who are kind of the same thing. Rich people and old people, which are kind of the same thing. That's where all of the economic activity is happening. All right. So that's the news for today. I will check my coffees, and then I'll see if there are any YouTube shorts that are worth generating from this show. We'll use our AI to do that. Someone bought a coffee. Thank you. I think Rob's in LA bought a coffee last show. So I think I read that. Thanks, Nathan. Hope you have a nice evening. So someone anonymous bought a coffee without leaving a note. So thank you for that. We appreciate it. We like to get at least one coffee is good. So we made money today. All right. That's the news for today. We may or may not be about to strike Iran. I think we tacoed out. I think we tacoed out of it, or Trump tacoed out of it. It looked like. Do you agree with me on that? I don't know. You tell me. It looks like we tacoed out of striking Iran yet. So we'll see what happens. But that's it. All right, everybody. Thanks for tuning in. We'll be back with more news tomorrow around the same time, 4 p.m. Pacific time, 7 p.m. Eastern time. As always, thanks for joining me. Thanks for participating in my chat. Make sure to give the video a thumbs up, please. It helps the algorithm. Subscribe to the channel and hit the bell for notifications, and leave a comment. Also helps the algorithm. So thanks everybody for tuning in. Always good to see you. And we will see you at the next one. For now, that's what it is.